want to welcome everybody to the TMP podcast, and today I got a special guest, man. This guy, he grinds all the time. He don't stop. He's always, up and down, up and down. And I want my people down here in Texas, and people out there too, to know a little bit of Big Brother Jake, man. What's going on?
What's good, man? It's good to be on, man. Finally happened. So I
Yeah.
appreciate you having me, brother.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah, man. Yeah. So the people that don't know who Big Brother Jake is, like, can you tell us a little bit about you? Like, where were you born? Where you from? And
Oh yeah, man. No
all that
doubt.
good
No
stuff.
doubt. California native, from San Bernardino, California. It's a suburb east of LA, about 50 miles, but it's one of the most dangerous cities in America. So I don't even know how I got out of there, but I did. And
Yeah.
I'm a Navy vet, and I did 3 years before I got hurt, and then got in the radio game, man. Been doing this 25 years.
Yeah.
Also do a lot of podcasting stuff. I had the Big Brother Jake podcast, which semi successful. I had some cool names on there, and I still work with the Podcast One network along with the Clippers as their audio engineer for the radio broadcast, and with the LA Kings. Then with Angel City FC women's soccer team in LA. So yeah, I stay busy, and I'm a professor at Mount Sac College out here in California too, man. So I stay busy, brother.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Like I said, I mean, it sounds like you've been having a full plate, man.
Always. I try to be like you, man. Big dog in the gym, melting away, bro. Look at you, man. Looking good, brother.
Oh, appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Like I said, I'm just trying to make a change, because I mean, we ain't getting no younger, man. We just getting
hell no, bro. I'm pushing 50, bro. I'm still trying to, keep it as best I can.
No, man. Like I said, everything we could do, just to, I mean, we it's like they say, we get hurt around this time. We get hurt, man. There's no parts for us anymore.
Nope.
You can't. It's just like you can't just let me go to the junkyard and let me take a leg, a arm, or something.
Nope, can't pick apart, bro. Can't. Yeah, you gotta heal up. Do it right. Be careful out there.
Hell yeah, man. So, what really like inspired you or motivated you to start like the podcasting and all this stuff? Like for you, like what was one of the reasons that you're like, this is what I want to do?
One of the reasons why I started my podcast, working in radio, I was always behind the scenes. I spent a lot of time at Fox Sports Radio, and I worked for the Dodgers. You couldn't replace the great Vince Scully, so I would never try to take that job, God rest his soul. But there's a lot of radio hosts I felt weren't good, and I'm making them sound good, giving them ideas, mixing the audio, producing for them, and I'm like, man, I need a platform where I feel like I could do something and make a difference, be heard, be seen. So I just got the idea to start the Big Brother Jake podcast, and didn't look back, I started in my garage, like third hand, not even second hand, third hand equipment, just trying to figure out what I could talk about in my garage, man. And I was like, dang, my first show I think got 12 downloads, and I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna quit. I'm gonna keep it going. I'm gonna give it like a 10 show run. So I knocked it out the park, kept doing it, grinding, doing the best I could. Got picked up by the Podcast One network after my 100th episode. And that's where I like really got like actual celebrities to do it, So, I didn't quit. I gambled on myself and won. And that was through a divorce. I didn't get a lot of support at first. Well, really didn't get a lot of support at all from my ex on the podcast. Just like, yeah, go do it. Whatever comes out of it. But, here we are now. It's 227 episodes in, and I've got to have NFL Hall of Famers on there, entertainers, some great people, man. So yeah, that's what motivated me to start. Was these suckers couldn't really do good on the radio, and I was like, man, I could do better.
Yeah, man. Because I see that a lot of people get into podcasting and stuff, and they really like, they don't know what to do sometimes. They're like, they get on that mic and they're like, oh man, what do I talk about? It's just, I think I see it basically like, like a stand-up comedian, how they say that you got to talk about your life, you got to talk about stuff that you go through. And basically that's one of the motivations I had, I was like, you know what? Cause I was doing music, and then I was like, you know what, I can't be rapping, when I'm like 50, 60 years old. I can, but I'm not gonna be doing that. So I wanted to stay like on the business,
Sure.
in the entertainment, world. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do podcasting. And I'm not really like a big talker, but slowly I started, like getting that camera fright, fading away. So,
Oh yeah,
you
no
know,
doubt.
yeah. So yeah, man, it's good because like I said, you have good content, man. You have
Thank you.
good stuff out there, man. And like I said, I mean, I just heard from you and I became a fan.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
And I'll tell anybody that wants to get into the game, like you got to give up a good piece of yourself,
Yeah.
because authenticity is key when you do a podcast. If you want to be successful, I put all my business out there. Not too much. I mean, I kept a piece for myself. Like anybody I was dating when I did the podcast, I would never put them out there. I wanted some kind of privacy. My kids like being on it, but it's authenticity that people look for.
Yeah.
I never acted like I was somebody I wasn't. I wasn't fronting at all, faking the funk. None of that. There was times where I was just like having a bad day, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna record anyway. Um, there's nothing worse than somebody that's fake. You don't want like a CB4 situation. Like you see these fools in the rap game and faking the funk, and that can never be me. I always just wanted to be honest with my audience and kept it real thorough, kept it real. I wasn't trying to be anybody else other than Big Brother Jake, and just having fun with it too, and you can learn a lot from your own listening base. And so, yeah, anything that I was going through, I'm sure somebody else could relate to it. And that's why I kept my content the way I did. If you're a single father out there and you got kids, you miss them, I would talk about it. Dating, I talk about it. Like there was no one subject I was locked in on. I like to talk about everything because I would get bored out of my mind if I'm just locked in. People know me because I've worked in sports radio for 25 years. So it's like, oh, you're going to talk sports once in a while, but I don't want to talk about that all the time because that's not who I am. So yeah, authenticity is key in this game, man. And people worry about the numbers, I think, too much. And,
Yeah.
and that could affect your content. I didn't care about downloads. I only cared about putting out quality content. The numbers will come because people know you're not fake. And I think sometimes people have like these fake beefs, or they'll go on, and talk trash on other people just to get numbers. Numbers don't mean nothing, bro. Like I didn't have the biggest numbers and I got signed to a deal. So, I mean, if you're authentic and you're real and people feel your vibe, you will succeed in this thing, man. 100%.
Yeah, man, because there's a lot of, like, it's happened to me that I talk, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna talk about this, I'm gonna talk about that. And there's a lot of people out there that do relate with stuff that sometimes we say. You know what I mean? They relate.
Absolutely.
They give you feedback. They're like, hey man, what you said here on this podcast or what you said on this video, like it motivated me because I went through that, or I'm
Yeah.
going through stuff like that. You know what I mean? And that's like you're right, the authenticity and just being original, man.
Yeah, there's too many people out here. Like if on any given day you can go on TikTok or you can go on Instagram, and on the reels you'll see everybody with one of these mics in front of them giving love advice, or like different gangs getting at each other on here, and that's not what it's about. And it's to a point now where a lot of it's watered down, and it's the same BS that you hear time and time again. This hood's this and this hood, or men are no good, or women are sluts and whores, or whatever. And it's like, man, like talk about something that I could relate to. I grew up in the streets, I grew up in the ghetto, but I don't want to hear about that all the time. I want to hear about a single father that's making it, or somebody that knows how to make money and can help the others, or you use your platform for good and try to unite people. And that's what I tried to do. I try to create a platform where we could escape from politics, as I call it. You could escape from your hard life that, groceries are expensive, rent's expensive, and all this other stuff. We can go on for 45 minutes to an hour and just escape and have fun, laugh a little bit, cry a little bit. And I think that's what a lot of the podcast game is missing, which made me like, let me kind of fall back from it because it's just everywhere you go, it's the same.
Yeah.
And I, like with your podcast, it's different. It's you talk about yourself. You're not hung up on the BS that's out there, or you're not trying to, sensationalize BS in order to get numbers. I can't stand that, and a lot of that's happening now, and that's why it's almost unlistenable. Like I don't really listen to a lot of them anymore because for that reason.
I always compare like the podcast now with the music now, because some of these rappers, they, like I said, I said it before in an episode that, like people are not making that timeless music anymore.
Oh.
And the same with the podcast. People are not making podcasts interesting no more, man.
No.
They're just, like you said, they're just doing it for the numbers, for the cloud, for whatever, just to shine a little bit, and then they just let it go, and that kind of messes it up for us that we are,
for sure.
You know what I mean? It messes it up for us, because they're like, damn, bro, like we not only we gotta fight whatever we gotta fight here with us, but we gotta fight against all these people that are just faking it out there, man.
No doubt, man. Like, I would do something every Father's Day. I'd have my 3 daughters come on and grade my parenting. Like, who does that? And I tell them, be honest and be real. Don't fake it because you're worried about what dad's gonna say or people are gonna say. Be honest. And they call me out on it. And people love that, Or I would have like my mom come on and just talk crazy. You gotta be original in these days, man. Like, I ain't worried about, this one clicking up against this one and people trying to fight and get on camera and then put it on an episode. It's stupid. It's stupid. Like, that's not the point of a podcast. And the thing is, podcasting's around because a lot of people want to be on the radio and can't. I come from a professional background, so I see it kind of different. And it's just like, it irks me. How are you going to do a podcast and your audio's trash or your video's trash? Like, nah, you got to be on point with the basic stuff. So if your audio is trash and your content's trash, why the hell am I going to listen to your podcast? There's no reason to. And, they have too many yes people around them. I try to surround myself and pick out 3 different people from 3 different like friend groups. When I was, heavy into the podcasting, what's your opinion? What do you like? What didn't you like? You got to be open to criticism. A lot of people aren't. And so it's like, well, what do you mean? Oh, you're a hater. No, you asked me, it's trash, and I'm just being honest with you. And we have too many yes men doing this, and too many people that really don't care about their content or the sound of it. Because if the sound is bad, who's going to listen? And then your content's trash, who's going to want to? You got to keep them engaged. So, when with the Big Brother Jake podcast, 3 segments, 3 different things to talk about. Sometimes I'd have a guest on, or, I have, an old school rapper like, Rodney O, or, I have somebody come on from the Dallas Cowboys, or, the NBA, or anything. You just got to keep it fresh, man. And a good mix of like pop culture, current events, and, something about yourself. It's an easy recipe, man. It's an easy solution just to plug and play. But a lot of people don't want to do that. They just want to be hard. They want to be heard. It's like, oh man, I'm the best podcaster around, and F this person and do this, that, and the other. And it's just like, dude, you're repeating yourself every week. I'm bored. Like, do something new.
Yeah, man, because I've seen podcasts that I like, and what you said earlier, that a lot of people are starting to fight now and starting like creating all this scenes. I'm like, bro, like, what are you doing? Like, just stick to whatever you were doing. I mean, oh man, like,
the formula. The formula works if you stick to it and believe in it, man, and work on it day in and day out every week. It's not hard.
No.
You see someone like Joe Rogan that's killing the game right now. You see all these other like former rappers and stuff doing these podcasts, and they're getting numbers because they found an audience and they stick to their formula without having to be outrageous, without having to tear somebody else down. And there's too many people worried about clout and numbers. Once you forget about clout and numbers and put out beautiful content, the numbers will come. I'm telling you, I know from experience, to start from my garage with 12 downloads to being like iTunes ranked in Nigeria, number 23 in Nigeria, above Stephen A. Smith, who I worked with. That's crazy to me, and so and I didn't change anything. I didn't go out of my way. I would just take the criticisms I heard, work on them, and keep going. And if I didn't have good content, I'd be like, you know what? I'm just not going to record this week. And some people just, oh, I better do one. I better do one. And those will be your worst shows because I've done that. So I know.
Yeah, a lot of people, they just want to like get on there and like I said, it's just, you got to be original, like we said earlier. You just got to be original. Like I said, talk about whatever happened at work. You know, I started doing some of those. I started another show. It's called Combos. You know, like combos at work, and I'm just there at work, or sometimes I'm driving to work, and I just talk. You know, I just talk, and I don't care if nobody's listening. I'm like, but there's somebody out there that's gonna be like, you know what?
Exactly.
I feel this guy. You know, like I go through the same stuff too. So.
Just think about it, man, and you know, we can relate to somebody out there that's listening.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, oh man, I only had like 117 downloads. Imagine 117 people in your room, in your studio, saying, man, that was great. People don't, you know, they get it messed up because they see people like Joe Rogan and all these other ones getting millions of downloads and making hundreds of millions of dollars, but not really focusing on what the price. You got to be relatable in order to get that genuine, you know, like feel. And then other people catch on like, yo, man, you know, I was listening to Mr. Pac, you know, this dude is dope, man. Like, you got to check him out. And then they're like, oh, you know what? I liked it, man. Thanks for the recommendation. And so on and so forth and so forth. And all of a sudden, you know, you got people hitting you up like, man, that was a great show. And like, man, where you at? Austria. Like, what? You know, so it's crazy. You know, like to be downloaded in over 100 countries worldwide, starting from a garage, and it's all because it stuck to my plan. And if people just realize that, man, you could go so far.
Yeah, man. And like I said, me too. Like I said, I don't have a lot of fans and a lot of like followers yet, but I've been doing it for a while. But
see, there you go.
I saw this guy. He hit me up, right, and he's from Nigeria.
See.
And he's like, man, we love your podcast out here. He's like, I know you do music. He's like, we listen to your music all the time over here. I'm like, man, in Nigeria? Like, what?
Dude,
and the guys, they're like, we love it out here, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, damn. Like,
Nigeria is like my biggest fan base over America. Yeah. Nigeria and Canada, then it's the USA.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, something about Nigerian podcasts. And shout out to Nigeria, man. Like, I got Nigerian blood in me. So I'm just like, man, yeah, you know, people think I'm Latino, but I'm half black and half white. But I speak Spanish though, and my kids are half Latinas. So yeah, Nigeria is where I get a lot of love, man, and that's what it is. You stuck to the script, you keep doing your thing, and then the people from other countries, other backgrounds. You know, I had a dude that was from Alabama, straight racist, and said, man, you made me not be racist anymore because I can relate to you. And we're not even the same. I'm like, we are the same to a degree though. And once you become relatable, I'm telling you, that's where everything takes off, man.
Yeah, man. Because I mean, you never know how far you're gonna get or what's gonna happen with whatever you got going on if you don't try. You know, there's a lot of people that have these ideas. There's a lot of people that want to do it, but they're scared. They're like, man, what if they say this? What if they say? And I always tell people, I'm like, bro, people are always gonna talk mess.
Yep,
they're always gonna talk mess. Like, it doesn't matter. You could be doing great. Look at Joe Rogan. People talk a lot of smack about him. He don't care. He's still doing his own thing.
See, and here's the thing: a lot of people don't realize. If someone's talking about you, that means you're doing something right. If everyone likes what you're doing something wrong. You know, so you want people to like, oh, he sucks, or many a time, oh man, I could do better than you. All right, buy some microphones and do it. Like, okay, I want you to win, be better than me, but be you. I'm only trying to be me, and I'm not competing with no one out here. I'm just doing what I do. I have fun with what I do, and I'm not trying to imitate or copy anybody because, again, I was always the oddball growing up. I was a kid with the high top fade, that wasn't scared to say what he wanted to say, even if it meant getting popped across the mouth from my parents. Like, I wanted to have fun. And that's the key, man. If you're doing it right, people are gonna talk about you, and that's perfectly fine. That's my fuel, and sometimes when people would get out of pocket, I would just like obliterate them and just kill them. And some of those people are like, man, that was cool that you roasted me like that. You flamed me up and it was cool. And I was like, you just wanted the reaction. If you just wanted a shout out, just say so. But I'm not gonna back down from anybody just because of what they say or they think I suck or like, oh man, you're whack. Okay, I'm whack. But somebody else likes it. I'm not worried about you. Everybody has their own flavors, man. Some people like chocolate, some people like vanilla. So that's what it is.
Yeah, man, and some of those people that you go back and forth with, some of those they become your biggest fans.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean?
Because it used to be like that all the time. Like when I worked at Fox Sports Radio, shout out to my guy Ben Maller. I would go on the microphone, and go on the air and crack stuff, and people were like, "That guy sucks. Why do you let him on the air? Doesn't he just mix the audio?" Then all of a sudden it's like, "Yo, big bro, man, I love that segment you did with Ben." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Didn't you hate me like 2 years ago?" "Nah, but you're funny, man." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm an acquired taste, bro, but thanks for the love and I appreciate it." So you'll win people over. Eventually you'll win them all over. And then it's like, okay, look for the next batch of haters and convert them too.
Yeah, man. Like I said, and that's what I tell people all the time. Like, if you want to do something, just do it, man. Like I said,
Yeah.
and I even tell my kids too. I'm like, they're like, "Oh, I want to do this. I want to do." I'm like, you know what? Just go out there. Don't go to school and try to be somebody you're not. Don't go to school and try to pretend. I'm like, just be yourself. I'm like, and trust me
Absolutely.
that you're gonna get more love being you than trying to be somebody you're not. Because once they find out that you're a faker and you're this, I'm like, all that coolness or popular stuff is just gonna go away because they're like, whatever.
Yeah, yeah. Nobody wants to follow the sheep. You want to see somebody be an individual, and I do the same thing with my daughters. I got 3 daughters, and they all have their own little style, their own little everything, and they're not ashamed of who they are. And that's what I teach them. Like, look, man, I may not be the most handsome dude. I may not be the most athletic. I may not speak the way people want me to speak or whatever. I'm not the richest, but I'm who I am. And I love me and I'm comfortable in my own skin. And people don't like that sometimes you're comfortable in your own skin because it's their own insecurities where they're like, man, that guy, he thinks he's all that. No, I'm just me, but you mad because you don't have the courage to just do your thing and do what you want to do. I walk outside, I look in the mirror, and I have no regrets whatsoever. I'm happy with who I am and who I represent and what I represent. I represent San Bernardino, California. I represent the Warners. That's my last name, my government name. My school, my family, everybody. But I have a lot of support too that allows me to feel comfortable with what I do. Like I'm never going to put like family members or anything on blast, because I have a platform. I would never call them out, but you gotta march to the beat of your own drum if you want to succeed in this business. You don't want to sound like someone else. If I want you to sound like that person, I'm gonna go tune into the other person. That's the thing. We're in this because we're unique in our own style and our own individuality. And once you stray from that, it's over for you, man.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. And like I said, for me, like I said, when I was growing up, I did the bad stuff. We were always
Yeah.
doing the bad stuff and
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
And now I see some of my friends, and they're like, man, he's like, I remember you used to be like this young teenager, man, just
Yeah.
messing up, doing all this crazy. Now I see you, and you're a totally different person because
Right.
there's a lot of people that grew with us that are still in the same spot, like they're
Yeah.
still
Stuck
doing the
in that
same
same
thing.
mind state, bro.
And,
And that's the thing. People have to learn. You remember me in a certain stage, but I've graduated past that. You can't hold me hostage from my past. I'm going to mature. I'm going to grow up, people that can't accept it are people that don't want you to succeed or they're too scared to do their thing. And that's why I tell them, like, I had to leave the hood behind. You can't take everybody with you to the top. It's just how it is. Because a lot of those people, Snoop said something really smart. He said, you can't take everybody with you. And when they don't want to elevate, you got to go down in order to be in the same mind state as your peoples. You don't want to go back down. You did everything to get the hell out of there. You gotta elevate and motivate. And if these fools don't want to, like, follow you, then you gotta cut bait and say peace out.
Yeah, and that sometimes you get hate like that from your own people that you grew up with, because they're like, oh, well, you change on me. I'm like, no, I'm like, I didn't change on you. It's just that I changed to better myself. Just you don't want to change. You know
Absolutely. What I mean? Yeah. And then they get mad because you change, for the better, because they're scared to do it. It's just a vicious cycle. And that's why you have ghettos in the country. That's why you have, people that live in poverty. That's why you have people that, that just, the comfort zone will kill you. That's why you're hanging and banging in the gym all the time, and I'm always trying to learn something new because I don't want to be stagnant. But people are so comfortable, they don't care that they're not elevating. They don't care they're not, prospering and making a better living. Like, I always want to do better than where I'm at. I'm happy where I'm at, but I can still be way better. And I do everything I can to learn and push and get out of wherever I'm at and elevate. And that's what's wrong with people. They just they're haters, man.
Yeah, man. And sometimes, like I said, some people they change, some people they don't change, some people, they react too late.
Yeah.
It's just like crazy, man. But I was gonna ask you, since you started to now, like I said, you say you took a break, and I know you kind of like sat back and be like, you know what, you think about a lot of stuff. So if you start doing it again, like, what can Big Brother Jake, change from now on, from when you started?
That's a damn good question.
Yeah.
I think because I have so much going on, if and when I decide to like revisit it, I think I would be a little more honed in, more consistent. I don't think I would change my content too much because my audience love my content. And, I do it for me, but I know what the people like. And I know working for certain companies, money or numbers do matter, because that brings in the sponsors, brings in whatever. So I'm not like above reproach when it comes to that. But if I really had something to say, it'd be consistency. And probably lock in a little more with the people. Because once I started doing all these extra jobs, just trying to get my savings together, I'd been through some illnesses and stuff and had a lot of debt. So I had to work a lot. It would just be honing in and locking in like I did in the beginning. And that's when the beginning and the middle, I was like killing it. That's when I was like getting people to come on, people I'd never thought would ever show up, to come on. It would be being more consistent because towards the end, I was just like, okay, I'll do an episode this week. Oh, I can't. And then be 3 weeks later, like, damn, I haven't put anything out. And then, I started losing people. And I always said when it's not fun anymore, that's when I'll fall back. And it wasn't fun anymore because it's like, all right, what else can I talk about that's going to motivate people? They already know I've talked about COVID. They know I've talked about politics. They know I've talked about music. They know I've talked about my life ad nauseum. So that's when I started trying to get creative and have stuff like Big Bro Jake's big bites of love, where I've had like friends and celebrities come on and give love advice. Or, I just talk about have people come on and talk about what they're mad about for a minute. Or just like set up a voicemail and just tell me what you hate about the show. Just, you got to do something, just be creative. And it even got to the point where I was like, man, I'm not even feeling that. I just don't want to do it. So
yeah,
if there was anything I would change, if I were to come back, it'd be just being consistent and killing it every day, and putting in more work, doing more work out in the street, getting reaction from people about certain topics, and which I was doing. And then I got a little lazy, I ain't gonna lie, and I fell back like, okay, I'm getting by off what I usually do, and people are still following and tuning in. And then once I lost the magic, people could tell, like, man, your heart's not in it. I could hear it. And those are people that really listen. So when your heart's not in it, you can't keep going because you're just gonna tarnish your legacy,
Yeah, that's what happened to me with the music. Like, I still like doing music, but I have a lot of music in my computer that I'm like, I listen to it and I listen to it and I listen to it. And I'm like, man, like I don't want to put this out,
Yeah,
you
I've
know.
been there.
And
I'm a
then I'm like,
musician. I get it.
and then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna put it out, and then I go back to the studio, and I'm like, nah, you know what? But it's like you said, it's probably not that you lose the love for it. It's just that
Mhm.
I don't think it's the time yet.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, it's not.
Sometimes it's You're right. Because sometimes it's just like, man, you know, I balance so many plates, like being a professor, working for 3 sports franchises, usually 4, because I feel for the Dodgers too. I'm trying to be a dad, trying to have a social life and date. Go out and have fun, travel, have a little time for me, and something's gonna give. So like I used to produce music. I've had music placements on stuff. So I get that part for sure. I'll sit in there and I'll work on a beat, and I'm like, this ain't it. I miss the feelings. Would be like 1:17 in the morning. I'm like, yo, I'm feeling it, and you just run to the studio and just get it out before you lose it. That magic, and every musician, including yourself, knows that just that little feeling you get, like in the back of your neck, like I need to be in the studio and go in there real quick and knock some
Yeah,
out or write it down or write some lyrics or whatever. So that's the thing. You can't lose the love for it, because when you lose the love for it, you don't show it respect. You don't show your show the respect. You don't show your listeners the respect. So you always got to be on point and have the love. Once the love's gone, you got to do it, respect it, and just bow out gracefully. And maybe it'll come back, maybe it won't. But as long as you give your all and you're authentic, man, like you can't go wrong.
hell yeah, man. Even I was about to hang up the mic with the podcast, and like, what was it, like last month? I saw this homeboy, and he's like, "Hey man, he's like, you're not doing no podcast no more." I'm like, "Nah, not right now. Like I do here and there." He's like, "Man, you were killing it, man. He's like, you were
Yeah.
killing it. Do it again, do it again." And I'm like, you know what? Let me start doing it again.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like, you know what? I'm gonna start getting back into it. Like I said, the music, I don't think so, but I'll do the podcast. And even with the music happens too. That I
Yeah.
showed my son the other day a song I did, and he's like, "Oh, this sounds crisp. He's like, this sounds pretty good." He's like, "You still got it, Dad. You still got it." I'm like, "All right." I'm like, "I know you want me to drop more music." He's like, "No,
Yeah.
no, for real. Like, you still got it." I'm like, "All right." I'm like, there's still some hope there.
Sure. Oh yeah. I mean, there's times I'll miss making music and making beats, and then I'll start trying to work on something, and I just know it's not there. So it's like, why am I wasting time? And then there's sometimes I'll go back and listen to some old tracks. My kids will be like, "Man, I used to love when you would like play this, Dad. Like, I can hear so and so on it. You should try again." But I'm like, "Oh, baby girl, my heart's not in it. Like, nah." So sometimes I'll do little like projects for them. Like, "Hey, Dad," because like my middle daughter Savannah, she wants to be like a sideline reporter. And I've given her like hooked her up with certain people in the industry, and they're like, "Oh, she has that it." So she's like, "Can you put beats together for like my highlight packages for high school?" And so I get into it for that reason. But when somebody's like, "Hey, I'll pay you this to do it," I don't know, like the heart's not in it no more. So I can relate on the music, musician side of that, and even the podcast side, because it's like networks will throw money at you, but if you're just not feeling it, then
Yeah,
you're doing a disservice to everybody, including yourself.
yeah, you're already forcing it, and that's when you just
Can't
like
force it. Can't force it. It has to
like say
just come
you
out
you
naturally.
go yeah, you go down in history as like, he went from here to here. So
Yep, exactly right, bro.
yeah, but it's a good thing. Like I said, I was gonna ask you too. Now that you're, like I said, you're hosting all these shows and what you do right now, like what do you like? Like, how do you feel sometimes? You're like, you know what, damn, like I never knew I was gonna be here. Like, what's
You
the
know,
feeling? What's the feeling of it like?
there's nothing better where you could captivate an audience, man. Like I actually grew up a shy kid, until my boy P Dub, my homie Paul, that I've known for since kindergarten. I would crack jokes at his house, and his mom would just laugh so hard she'd piss herself. And he's like, "Dude, why aren't you like this in school?" I'm like, "Man, fat, people don't like me. They think I'm a dork or whatever."
Yeah.
And so I just started from like first, second grade to start cracking jokes. Got told I talked too much. Fast forward many years later, when you can crack a mic open and just say what you feel and see the reaction. There's no other feeling better than that. Where, like I would say something on my podcast, I think, it could be relatable. I'll cut it up, put it on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, whatever. And people are like, yo, that's dope how you did that or said that. Just being able to host the show, like, hosting a show for Adam Carolla and Dr. Drew on the Podcast One Network. I was their intern 25 years ago, and now I'm doing stuff for them. There's no greater feeling than somebody saying, yo, your show is dope. I love what you said. Even when they hate it, oh man, I don't think it was that good, but at least you're out there trying. All right, I appreciate you. That's the best feeling in the world when somebody's feeling what you're doing, and you're not copying anyone else. You're not, again, not authentic, inauthentic, none of that. You're saying what's on your mind and people dig what you're saying. That is the pinnacle. That's the best feeling in the world, man. And I chase that high here and there, so like I'll be at a party and I'll hold court and I'm just joking around, making the whole table laugh. And there'll be one of my friends like, yo, why aren't we recording this, man? Like, you should be putting this out as an episode. I'm like, just because, I'm here with y'all. I ain't trying to, but that feeling is amazing. Like, when you recorded a podcast and you stop and you're like, yep, that was good. Just as a musician, as a podcaster, a public speaker, when you killed it. And even if no one likes it, in your heart of hearts, you killed it and you're proud of yourself. There's no better feeling than that, man. And that wasn't happening as much for me towards the end. So it was like, I'm chasing it. It's not happening. But that's the feeling you got to strive for, where you turn the mic off, you're like, edit it, and you're like, hell yeah, that was dope.
Yeah.
But that's when and I still chase that. I still love that feeling, and I'll forever love that feeling. And if you're doing this, you should have that feeling every time you finish. If you're not satisfied with what you did, who's stopping you from going back and doing it over? It's a podcast, a radio show, you can do whatever,
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that, man.
Hell yeah, man. And you know what the good thing is, what the beautiful thing is, that it's like you, right? You say your daughters want to start doing similar stuff. Now you can show them the mistakes you did.
Oh yeah, they definitely learned from me, and I've even pointed out when I used to be on the air on like terrestrial radio. This is what Dad did live. Like, oh my God, how scary! Like, yeah, when you mess up and you got hundreds of thousands of people listening, and you don't know what to do, so you got to improvise. You got to be on your grind, man. And so I've played tapes for them, so they're like, oh my God, that's scary. And then I put other tapes where like, Dad, you're crazy. That was funny, So that's the thing, if they want to get into it, they're gonna learn it, and they're gonna have to fail. And failure is your best teacher, man. And you try different things, see what sticks. Some things are, some things aren't. That's how it is.
Yeah, man. I say all the time that if you fall, you can fall 3, 4, 5, 7, 8 times. Just make sure every time you get up, you learn something from that fall.
Absolutely. Yep. Because if you don't learn, man, you'll never progress.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people do, man. They just keep falling, and they don't learn. And they know, they're like, you keep tripping with the same damn rock on the same damn street, and you keep going through there, and you keep, come on, man.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah, man. Like, people just don't, some people just don't learn, man. But
yeah,
hey, man, I appreciate you, man. Like I said, I really appreciate you coming through, man, to the podcast. And I hope we could do some more episodes, man.
Bro, you need me. You need me anytime, bro. I got you, man. It's a lot of fun being on. And y'all missing out if you ain't checking out Mr. Pac, man. This dude in the gym. He's in the studio. He's in the podcast booth, man. This show, I'm telling you, bro, one of my favorites. I'm glad you're doing it and you're grinding again. And it was an honor to be on, man. Like, I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me. Anytime you need me, bro, I'm here, man.
Hell yeah, man. I appreciate you. Like I said, once again, and like I said, I'll stay tuned to whatever you're doing. I'll keep following and
oh yeah. I sometimes I just pop up. You'll never know, bro.
Yeah.
I'll get that wild itch again and be like, yep, all right, let's go. you never know, man. Be on the lookout.
Hell yeah, man. So just tell people where could they find you, and
Oh yeah, man. If you on the socials, on X, on Instagram, I'm at Big Brother Jake. For anything archived at the Big Brother Jake podcast, you want to check that out. Any of my old shows, I've had so many different people on. It's a lot of fun. Never know, might come back and do it again, man. Get that itch. But yeah, I at Big Brother Jake, man. That's where you can find me on all socials.
Hell yeah, man. Appreciate you, man. Like I said, once again, I appreciate you, and hope you have a good night and a good rest of the year, man.
You do the same, brother. Thank you.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Yes, sir.